I think, remember, you just hit the nail on the head. And to appreciate,
Yes.
to appreciate where we are, we have to enter in the minds of those who are the framers of this act, and particularly in relation to 73DE. Because I do believe that there could be scope for another look, especially that the Integrity Commission by itself operates without that third eye. And perhaps this is where the intention of the framers were, that a third eye could be provided. So one of the things that have been occupying my mind is how to create the capacity within the committee to enable that possibility. In fact, we're looking at how perhaps to look at technical support for the committee to enable it to review ahead of our meeting, in the same way that I did with the PAAC when I got the consultant to look at the reports from the MDAs ahead of their coming before the PAAC, so that what happens is executive summary is given to the committee members so they can be guided in reviewing overall. So I believe that there is a value to this, and that the Section 73DE must have intended to enable the committee to operate in this way. And as chairman, I'll be working towards that.
Right, and just for guidance, when it gets to the Standing Orders Committee, the idea of this oversight committees were basically that the commissions of Parliament were sending annual reports to Parliament without even Parliament getting the opportunity to ask questions of these commissions of Parliament. So it can't be that Parliament was just a post box that they send reports.
Right.
So the idea of this, the Oversight Committee, was to meet not regularly, but maybe as it deems it, at least once per year, to look at the various reports of the commissions of Parliament, to support the work of the commissions, to question the work of the commissions, to ask the commission what concerns and issues they have, in what ways Parliament could address them. So that I think it's very important that the standing orders give clear guidance to the Parliament, and I think the sooner the better, because the impression is being given that we want to hold up reports, and quite frankly, I don't know why we would want to hold up reports.
Yes, I would just say, Chairman, and I agree entirely that we really ought to be meeting to focus on the annual reports and their recommendations in particular. You mentioned about a third eye, and I'm very wary about this third eye, because unlike the work of the PAAC and the PAC, the Integrity Commission stands on its own, and if people are aggrieved by it, then the place to take that is to the courts and not here. So I am urging, let us rush this process through, let us review it so that there can not be seen, whether plausibly or not, a conflict between ourselves and the work of the Integrity Commission.
I think in all of this, cognizance has to be taken of the section that gives us authority. And so, yes, so the issue of change is a function of the review that currently, in fact, the JSC is doing, which the number of us are also
and let us not.
So I'm quite minded to take that full look. As you know, I've been very careful about timing and to not rush through the JSC activities, if you notice, because we really want to do a thorough and comprehensive review of the act itself overall, and it's eventually the operations, because it's 5 years, and we want to take a good look overall to strengthen the capacity in all areas and to enable the transparency that we all want to be there, but also with fair and equity as the basis of the way forward. So I think that you're onto something, and the Speaker of the House, if I'm allowed to say so here, and myself have been talking about a relook at the standing orders in general.
Right.
And so we will
to be
take
fair,
that into account.
And to be
when we
fair,
do that.
Chairman, we can't blame the former Speaker and the present Speaker, because any interpretation of Section 73D is what they really wanted to impose. It just needs to be changed if necessary. Okay? So, Chairman, the reports before us, the four of them were very similar. I must admit, having read them, the Commission went through the proper process, and therefore the ruling recommended seemed to be in order. But I cannot understand, Chairman, why the four persons literally refused to submit their statutory declaration, because they were reminded and given 30 days notice. What I find amazing, though, Chairman, and let me repeat, we want the Integrity Commission to succeed. And success must be measured by how well we're doing to stamp out corruption in the country, and especially to get a better rating on Transparency International. I think we have a figure of about 44 now, where 100 is good. So it would be nice if the Integrity Commission could find ways and means to show how we are stamping out corruption, what measures are being used to stamp out corruption, because the present 44 is below 50. We should really, 44 put us at about 70 overall nationwide, across the nations. So we really need to improve our number 44 to 50 or 60. 100 is, no corruption. 0 is all corruption, to explain. Now, Chairman, I must admit, even though these reports are okay, for me, it was a bit of a disappointment when I sat in Parliament waiting for these 4 reports to come, because the Integrity Commission released a press release to say that 4 reports are coming and will be tabled. I don't know how Member Paul will, but I think that all of us in Parliament were waiting on these 4 reports, because a few of the reports earlier were, quite revealing. To have these 4 reports, Chairman, just about not filing statutory declaration, to my mind, was like a squib. So I would say, Chairman, most persons sitting in Parliament thought that maybe the reports had to do with the illicit six persons who were being charged for it. And I want to say, Chairman, we need to hear from the Integrity Commission, when are those reports? If the number of 6 and 28, whether those matters have been cleared up, and if they have not been cleared up, the Commission should report on them as soon as possible, because it shouldn't be too difficult, Chairman, for the IC to demand responses from whoever those 6 persons are. And what is interesting, no one seems to know who those 6 persons are. And report it to Parliament as soon as possible. So in other words, it may well be, Chairman, that it has cleared up 1 or all 6, or it has not cleared up all 6. I would hate to think that in the next annual report, we're going to hear from the Commission that, in fact, the 6 have not been cleared up. It should not take the Commission a year, Chairman, to investigate and clear up whoever those 6 and 28 other public officials. I noticed in the report, the minutes of the last meeting, one of the reports that was started in September and tabled in September 2023, started in September 2022, a good report, when I say a good report, a lengthy report analyzing the question of how permission was granted for construction of an apartment complex on Charlemont Road, Avenue Road. It took a year, and it was a very lengthy report. So it should not, Chairman, take a year to clear up the allegations of illicit enrichment, because it is out there. And people are asking which 6 parliamentarians or which 26 or 28 public officials are being investigated. I urge the IC to report to Parliament as soon as possible if these persons have cleared up their matter, and if they have not cleared up, investigate them and report to Parliament as quickly as possible.
Chairman, in relation to the 4 reports that are before us, and in keeping with my own position stated earlier, I move that we accept them, and I will accept them without question. In relation to the matter that the Minister of Justice has raised, I would like to probe the Commission the staffing, whether or not they have sufficient staff members to perform all the functions that are given to them in a timely manner. Because yes, sometimes these reports come almost still dated, because the issues under consideration took place many years back. So perhaps we could probe that to see if in approving resources for the Integrity Commission, if there's a need for more staffing to do these investigations, we should quite hurriedly grant such resources to the Commission.
Yeah.
I welcome the member, Minister of Legal
Chairman, just to
Affairs.
respond to what Member Paul...
Can you just allow me to welcome the member? Minister Malahou Fort.
Please accept my apology for my delayed arrival. Something intervened, and I had no control over that I had to attend to, but I am here.
Very nice.
Chairman, I just want to respond to Member Paulwell. Everything, to the best of my knowledge, that the IC asked for, they have got. To the best of my knowledge, every resource personnel that they have asked for, whether they have appointed them is another matter, okay? But I believe that the budget that they have got for this fiscal year is close to $1.5 billion. Chairman, for the last 6 years, the Commission would have spent way in excess of $5 billion. And I'm saying that we want the IC to succeed, and the question of success is to show that corruption is being dealt with or being deterred across all levels of the society. And that is a measure by which we feel that we would be getting value for money. It cannot be, Chairman, that we are spending $1.5 billion and we are not stamping out corruption at all levels. In other words, it would be regretful that in 2-3 years' time we can't say to the international community, after spending another $5 billion, that we have not deterred corruption at all levels of the society. It's very important for us to focus and see how best we can deter and eliminate corruption at as many levels of the society as possible. That's my concern, Chairman. And if I might say this, though, Chairman, from the few meetings we have had with the IC, one gets the impression that your focus is only on high official and politicians. They should look at certain other areas of government, and I don't want to call any areas, where allegations are made generally in the public about bribery, paying people to get things done, and where the people feel that, you know, public officials are corrupt. investigate, use the access to information, not the access to information, the Protective Disclosures Act, and urge more information or more, should I say, disclosures so that more corruption can be investigated at all levels. Okay, Chairman.
Thank you, member. I think that, yes, we got the signal that it is 1:30 and therefore we have to vacate the chamber in order to allow for the parliament preparations to be completed. But Member Malahoo Ford wants to make a quick comment, and the emphasis on that word, quick, yes?
Do we know whether these public officers are the only ones who failed to file a declaration during the period? And what, no?
I would say we cannot second guess the commission in this regard. We are here for the sole purpose of reviewing these reports as they are submitted. I wanted to just quickly, in closing, say that I take note of the comments that have been made by members with regards to, you know, the commission, and particularly the sense of, shall I say, concern in the public space with regards to disclosures that have been made for which there are incomplete investigations and conclusions. I wouldn't want to, as chairman, suggest to the committee the speed at which it does its work, but to require that it works with the efficiencies that enable it to give us the highest and best reports. So I wouldn't want to suggest that they should speed up anything or slow anything. There's no need for any kind of catalytic suggestion, if you will, in that regard. But I would make the point that there is perhaps some questions that the committee wants to have clarified, and perhaps the timing of our meetings with the commission could then be structured to enable on a regular basis to have some of these questions and matters addressed. So with the very next meeting that I propose to have, I would want to invite the commissioners, as they are not obliged, but as we know that they do have a responsibility to respond to the parliament, and indeed an understanding that we have that they will. So I will have them invited to meet with the Oversight Committee to look at these and other issues that are of concern to us, as together we work to make the whole process better and to enable an efficient and effective commission solving the problems that Minister Chuck is very concerned about, and all of us in the society are very, very concerned about the matter of beating this dragon called corruption. Thank you, members. I take it then that the resolution from Member Chuck with regards to the accepting of the reports be adopted. Well, very well, it's adopted. Any other business?
Chairman, in relation to any other business, some meetings ago, I had raised with the Commission the whole business of regulations dealing with lobbying and lobbyists. I think it's important. I remember when I was a minister, people would call and want to have a meeting with me. But sometimes you're not sure who these people are, and there should be some registration process if somebody is lobbying a government, so that you know upfront what business these people are pursuing, so that as ministers, in fact all of us, would be aware upfront that this is a business being pursued, and added attention must be focused on it. So I'd raised it some time ago. But I think we need to get from the Commission specific recommendations so that we can incorporate them in the framework for integrity.
Very interesting, because I think the business of lobbying and the whole institution of lobbying is not one that Jamaica is familiar with, and not domestic, but in other jurisdictions, it's a very, very organized, structured, and professional engagement for which there is high rewards too. So you're correct, and this is why I said, the timely meetings with the Commission could facilitate these kind of exchanges and enable us to have a better understanding of how, on both sides, we could be more efficient. Thank you.
Move for the adjournment.